You're listening to Hashtag No Filter with Zack Peter. That's me, your naturally platinum blonde pop culture connoisseur. I'm the reality TV junkie, self-improvement addict, and host with only the hottest tea spilled fresh weekly. For more hot takes, go and give me a follow at Just Plain Zack. I always keep it funny and I always keep it cute. And if you're like me and you want to stay up to date with the latest reality tea, then go and give us a follow at No Filter with Zack on the Instagram, or you can always join our private Facebook group. The link is in the description below. I hope right now you are sipping on some fizzy Housewives-inspired rosé for yourself, packing a punch at 14% alcohol by volume, but less than a gram of sugar. It is my Housewives watching wine. I crafted it perfectly with my pals at Elix. It is delicious. It is lightly fizzy, dry, and so yummy. So if you want to stock up, head over to nofilterwine.com. We have 4 fun designs inspired by some of the most iconic Housewives moments in Bravo history. So go to nofilterwine.com. That's nofilterwine.com. Just a reminder, there's no book club this week. We are skipping the Tuesday night book club this week. It'll be back next week, possibly at a different time. I will keep you posted, but as you know, I am making my big announcement this Tuesday. I have a very special announcement, and I cannot wait because I am so bad at keeping secrets, and I'm so bad at keeping my lips zipped, but I've had to, and now I finally get to let the cat out of the bag, and I cannot wait to reveal it, so make sure you are following on the Instagram so that you are updated first. All right, we have so much to break down. There is so much Beverly Hills tea. There is a lot going on with Erika Jayne, and she might be giving 1 or 2 fucks, but I mean, her attitude on social media sounds like it's still 0. Here to help me break it all down is one of my good pals. She's the host of Hot Takes and Deep Dives, and we're going to dive deep into Beverly Hills, Vanderpump Rules, and some Bravo books dropping this spring. Please welcome Jess Rothschild.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing, love?
I am good. I'm actually currently in New Orleans for a month or 2 escaping the New York cold. So I have had quite a few adventures as of late.
I love that vibe for you. It is freezing in New York. I bet it is. What's the weather like in Nolans?
Well, so today it is going to be like 65, 70, but it really fluctuates. I kind of feel like it's LA weather because it can get really cold at night. It can be like in the 40s at night. But then during the day, if it's sunny, it can be up to like 65. So like LA, you kind of have to have all seasons packed for the day.
I love that. So I spent the night at a boy's house last night.
A girl spent the night at my house.
I love it. Look at us doing the pot.
I texted Zack this morning. A girl just left my Airbnb and I'm in love.
I love, this is like the pod of shame. Not the walk of shame, but the pot of shame, because we just finished.
It is the pot of shame.
Actually, I did not have sex last night. Like, not even, we made out and we were naked and we cuddled all night. And then I had to leave because we had to tape this morning. And so we were up at like 5:45, which I don't mind. I'm like an early bird anyway. So like we got a coffee and then I had to Uber my ass out of there. But the reason I bring it up is because it was 38 fucking degrees there this morning. He's like way out in like the boonies.
Where it's snowing in Pasadena?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it snows out there. My Uber driver asked me, he's like, does it snow out here? And I was like, I don't fucking know. I don't live here.
Wait, so where was this guy? Fucking Big Bear?
No, Chino Hills. So
okay.
Far, I don't know. Is that San Bernardino County? I don't know.
But how did you meet the guy on like an app? Like, how did you match with somebody so far away?
He lives out there, but I can't tell you what he does because he's super private, but he comes into downtown a lot. So his commute, he's out in downtown like almost every day. I think. Yeah, he's always in downtown. So we matched when he was in downtown. So the first 2 times we hung out, he came to downtown. Because he's so used to being out here. And then he's like, you never come to me. And so I was like, fuck it. Okay, fine. I'll go to you. And so I went all the way. I Ubered my ass all the way out there. Which
cuddle? Like, why did it stop at just like cuddling and light banter and cuddling?
We were both a little litty city and we just, the vibe didn't take it there. And I was kind of fine with that. Like, we agreed, like, no penetration was going to happen. Like, we both went into it knowing that. And that my intention was, though, to stay over and kind of just, like, stay there longer. And I completely forgot that I had to tape this morning. So I kind of had to scurry on out early. But, no, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly had a great time.
No, I'm into this.
It is interesting though to see because he's such like a child. Like,
how old is he?
He's older than me, but like it's so interesting to like date like the guys that I date. Like, so many grown men are just like they're like kids. They build Lego and play video games and like it's just so interesting to see grown men like that. Anyway, we digress. But I imagine that your date last night was just as yummy.
I could do this whole episode about my date.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
We need to do like a bonus episode where we just divulge into all of our personal lives.
Oh my God.
That'll be
that would be
Patreon exclusive. No, I don't have Patreon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shall we dive into the tea? Because I'm pretty sure they're ripping us apart in the comments for not talking about Erika Jayne.
Yes, let's do it.
They're like, enough about your sex life. So first off, Erika Jayne has been dismissed from the Lion Air lawsuit, which were the orphans and widows. Jay Edelson was representing them for the $2 million that allegedly went to, or not allegedly, but Tom didn't pay $2 million of their settlement to the Lion Air victims. Jay Edelson is going after Erika Jayne as one of the debtors that he's trying to collect from. The lawsuit was happening in Illinois, and yesterday over the weekend, it was big news that the lawsuit has been, or that Erika has been dismissed from the Illinois lawsuit. And everyone's like, yay, Erika Jayne.
Except that's not really the case. They just moved the case to California from Illinois, correct?
Exactly. So he is saying that he basically agreed to withdraw or to allow Erika to be dismissed from the lawsuit because there were issues with jurisdiction arguments and whether or not he was even able to sue her out in Illinois. So anyway, he's moving the lawsuit or plans to move the lawsuit. I don't believe it's been filed yet, but he plans to move the lawsuit over to California. So a lot of people, and even Erika herself was like posting on her Instagram story, like, I've been dismissed from the case, but I'm also kind of like, but this isn't really good news. Like, it's good news in the sense that like it's going to be a lot cheaper for her because it would be a lot more expensive to try and make this happen out in Illinois for Jay and for Erika. So it's cheaper. It'll probably move through a lot quicker now that it's in California, but the lawsuit is still on, like, it's still an ongoing situation and it's not going to be over anytime soon.
What is Emily Baker say about, listen, I'm like you. I'm one of the people who think that Erika, I think she really didn't know a lot.
I don't think she knew much. I really don't think she knew much at all.
I don't think she knew much at all.
Other than her husband was probably a little shady and powerful.
Yes, because those rumors had been around. I mean, if Bethenny Frankel knows, then Erika Jayne knows.
Yeah.
But I don't think she had anything legitimate to do with, I guess so basically the issue is if the funds were benefiting her company, like, is that the crux of the case?
Well, so yes and no. So basically, on their books, Tom was writing off, he was paying for all of her personal expenses, and she would basically go get glam, send him the invoice, and he would pay for it, essentially. And so what he was doing is on the books, he was writing them off as loans to her company, EJ Global. So if, let's say, he spent $100 on a pair of shoes, for obviously her shoes are a lot more than 100, but let's, for example, he bought her a pair of shoes for $100, then on the books, instead of being a personal gift or whatever, he said, Girardi Keese wrote a loan to EJ Global for $100 and not showing that it was a purchase of shoes. So the argument that Edelson is trying to make now as well, or that the trustee is trying to make essentially, is that, well, those are loans, so now we have to collect on those loans because we're trying to clear out the Girardi Keese debts. And so Edelson is saying Erika benefited and received a lot of this money because she, was benefiting from the things that Tom was paying for. Her legal team is like, well, yes, she technically benefited from that, but she had no idea where the funds were coming from. When she was sending her invoice to her husband's office, she just thought her husband was paying the invoice. She didn't know that he was using money from a trust account that belongs to somebody else. She had no idea that he was doing that, and so she shouldn't be responsible for paying that back. The other argument is that, well, they're married, so, just like in California where there's community property, there's also community debt, and so if that's what he owes, then she should owe that as well. But then it comes into question, well, it was a debt of his law firm, not a debt of his personally necessarily, but then his law firm wasn't an actual law firm. It was more of a sole proprietorship. It was very, very strange the way he had the whole system set up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the lawsuit's ongoing. So yes, she's been dismissed from Illinois, but the lawsuit is really just moving from one state to the next state, and it'll be ongoing. So it's really not that big of news.
So why is she posting on her Instagram celebrate?
I think it's more of the perception. I think it's the perception because a lot of Erika Jayne fans were rejoicing. They're like, yes, queen, you've been dismissed from the lawsuit because we knew you were innocent. So I think for her, it's more of public perception seeing that she's been dismissed. And so what it'll essentially look like for people that aren't digging into it is, oh, she's been dismissed. And then there just happens to be another non-related lawsuit that's coming up, like the wave of them that have been coming. And so it kind of will get lost in the mix, in the shuffle. Or maybe she doesn't fully, I think she understands the situation though.
Question for you.
Yeah.
How, I know that you have sources at Beverly Hills, and I haven't asked you this privately. I want to know, what is the tea on this season? Is this going to be a good season? What are we setting up for?
It's going to be a really juicy season. Well, the issue is, from what I've heard, production's gotten shut down a couple of times.
Because of COVID?
Yes. We don't like to say that word on the YouTube though, because then the YouTube likes to block us.
Oh, sorry.
But the thing keeps shutting the production down because I guess people keep testing positive. Not just on the cast, but I guess some of the crew members and production people have as well. So there have been a couple of delays. That's why filming is still ongoing, because filming's been going on for a couple of months now, that I was surprised that it's been since Halloween at least. So, 3 months, 3 going on 4 months. But the drama, Erika is, from what I hear, bringing it again this season. Sutton is continuing to kind of throw down, the law in her, throw down the book with, the way she's trying to come at Erika with everything related to the Girardi Keese lawsuits and the whole Tom Girardi embezzlement scandal. Little tiffs here or there. We have the new girl, Diana, who has gotten really close to Erika. She seems to be a firecracker herself. But so the biggest thing is there's apparently this ongoing beef between Sutton and Erika, and so there was apparently friction going into their cast trip to Aspen. I believe this is their last trip before they film the finale. So there was beef between them, and there was a blow up amongst the women going into the cast trip. So obviously people were a little on edge, and so over the weekend there was another big blow up because now that the headlines have been coming out around Erika and her $750,000 earrings. Did you hear about that?
Yes.
Where Ronald Richards was like, oh, Erika's been caught red-handed. Now we know that the funds directly went to benefit her. Well, it's no fucking shit. He bought her a pair of earrings. And if anything, This is a good thing because it shows that they're actually going through all the books and now they're able to trace money from purchases Tom made to accounts that belong to clients. But so, real quickly, for anybody that's not familiar with it, there's a pair of earrings that cost $750,000. It was a replacement pair of earrings Tom bought for Erika, and it's directly linked to a trust account that belonged to one of his clients. Great for the case against Tom Girardi. But so Erika has voluntarily forfeited those earrings. They're now in a third-party escrow until they can decide whether or not those earrings are possessions of Girardi Keese or whatever happens. But so since that broke, that came up while they were in Aspen, along with all of the other, allegations against Erika and her behavior and why she's not, showing more remorse for the victims and the fact that she should just give up the earrings. Obviously, she can't just be like, here are the earrings. It has to go through the formalities of the legal process. She can't just be like, here, trustee, here's my earrings. They have to put it in a third-party escrow in order for things to, there's still the investigation is still ongoing. It's not as easy as people would like to believe that it would be. Like everyone's like, why doesn't she just do a concert to benefit the victims? Like there are legal like ramifications.
Wait, can I just say something about that?
Yeah.
Her giving a concert. So I was, in preparing this, I was reading one of the articles about like embezzlement suit dropped, whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
And the article, I think it was from Us Weekly. The sentence was the roller coaster singer.
Yeah.
Quote. Did you see that?
I did.
Cracked me up. Like, I don't know why. Probably only you and I will think that's funny, but it's just like, that's not even like her biggest song.
Right? But not only that, could you imagine if she did a benefit concert and was on stage and she's like, it's expensive to be me while she's raising money for the victims?
How many fucks do I give?
Yeah. Could you imagine how well that would go over?
The roller coaster singer. At least say like the painkiller. And then at least people can Google the video.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen the roller coaster video.
Is there one?
I don't know. There's a lot of them on her YouTube channel. But anyway, so Erika apparently feels ambushed by this conversation that came up. It was a big blowout. Dorit jumped into the mix. And apparently it was also revealed that there's been talk of Dorit allegedly faking her robbery.
That's not true.
I would assume, because there are fan rumblings saying that it was likely insurance fraud. But Teddy Mellencamp on her podcast with Tamra Judge, Two T's in a Pod, she said that there is someone in the group that hasn't been very supportive of Dorit. It makes me think that Sutton is possibly the one that was questioning Dorit's robbery. I don't know if it's Sutton, but apparently questions have been raised about the robbery. All arrows kind of hint and point that it was Sutton that's kind of stirring this up.
That I totally believe that it was Sutton because she's just looking for airtime. She's looking to like keep on the show. But like that is ridiculous to think that Dorit faked the robbery. That's like a sick thought. Like her kids were involved.
Like if they here's the thing. If they were going to stage a robbery, why do it when she and the kids were home? Like they could have staged a robbery at any point where somebody could have broken in and stole everything. Like they didn't need
how LVP sets all of her restaurants on fire. She doesn't do it while she's in the building. They get burned.
They do conveniently end up on fire pretty often, don't they?
I can't wait to talk about Vanderpump Rules.
I know, right?
My final question about Beverly Hills. Do you know what month it's premiering?
I would imagine June.
That late?
Well, we're still filming and it's February. Last year we got the season in May and it stopped filming at the start of January. So it's usually a 4 or 5 month turnaround. I mean, if they were able to bust it out by May, I would be like, yes, bust down Tatiana.
It's probably going to premiere around the time of the New Jersey reunion airing.
Yeah, I would imagine it's going to be Jersey and then Beverly Hills and Atlanta will be coming back.
Yeah.
So, or actually maybe, well, it might be because we have Salt Lake City that's going to be ending. So there's no way they'll put it together in like the next 4 or 5 weeks though. They're still filming everything, which is why Bravo needs to bust these seasons out quicker. But anyway, so there was a big explosive fight. Erika, Diana, and Dorit separated from the group. All the other girls ended up going out and having a conversation amongst themselves where a fan was in the cafe that they were talking at, and then a fan revealed all these other pieces, about the fight. Apparently, Lisa Rinna has brought up concerns about, or I guess concerns have been brought up against Erika taking antidepressants and drinking heavily and saying that that's affecting her behavior. And apparently Lisa Rinna is very concerned about that. But from what I've heard, Rinna and Erika are still a united front. They're still Thelma and Louise living their best life and there's no friction between them. Sutton is definitely not doing herself any favors by coming after all of them though. I think what happened was Sutton last season, saw that by asking Erika questions, all the fans were like, yeah, Sutton, take down Erika. And so I think she's playing that role. It always happens. They figure out what works for them and then they continue to try and play that role. And it always ends up biting them in the ass. Season, every housewife, every new housewife that tries to come in with that. But what are your thoughts on the drama so far?
The Beverly Hills drama?
Yeah. Are you looking forward to the new season? Are you kind of over it?
Well, obviously, I'm not as excited as I was before last season. Yeah. It's kind of going to be a sequel to to last season's, but listen, the truth is I am a little like housewived out.
Yeah.
Like I'm a little
Housewives.
I don't
fatigue.
know. I'm in and out of Salt Lake City. Like I'm definitely going to watch the reunion, but like I'm not following that as closely for whatever reason. I just don't care about these people.
Yeah.
The heart wants what it wants, and I don't know. I'm drawn to the things that I am. That having been said, of course I love Beverly Hills. So like, yeah, I'll be excited for when it comes back. Yes, I'm excited, but it's not going to be like earth-shattering the way last season was.
Yeah.
So
I wonder what people's perception is going to be this season compared to last season, because everyone went into it wanting to hate Erika and not really even listening to whatever her side of the story or anything may be. But I'm curious to see what people's react. Like, are they still going to go gung-ho, claws deep? I mean, because like, here's the thing. She's turned over the earrings. Her legal team has continued to cooperate with the trustees' investigation. We're over a year into this. We're going on a year and a half into this whole scandal. They haven't found anything on her that really, makes her culpable of anything. If anything, the one thing that Emily D. Baker did tell me about the earring thing is that Tom, in order to get the money out of the trust account and go to pay for the earrings, another lawyer had to sign off on that, which indicates that the lawyers at the law firm were aware of what he was doing. That's a really big
So
piece.
what's actually my real question is, what's the status with Tom Girardi? Like, is he just gonna?
Oh, he's in the home. He's living his best life.
So is that the end for? I mean, isn't he? When does he go to jail?
He doesn't. They can't go after him because he's mentally incapacitated. There's literally nothing that can be done to him. He's in the assisted living center, and that's just where he's going to croak.
Wow. Okay.
He's looking at that. Yeah. I mean, whether he has Alzheimer's and dementia or not, whether it's bad as they claim that it is, I don't know. But all I know is he's not going to jail. He's not going to be charged with it. You can't charge somebody that's not, mentally aware of their situation. And he claims he's not aware of his conservator, his brother, says that he's not there. So that's why everyone's going after Erika, because they assume that's where the money's at. But my thing is, it's like all these other fucking lawyers. Where's the bookkeeper? Where's his assistant? Where's the front desk lady? Like all these motherfuckers that worked for him for decades that know where all the dead bodies are hidden. What do they have to protect him at this point? I mean, here's the thing. Like, you might as well start singing like a canary, because if you make a deal to get immunity, you can spill all the tea. And what's going to happen to you? He can't come after you.
Right.
I mean, unless Erika Jayne comes after you or what. But like, she ain't going after you.
Scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for the new season of Beverly Hills?
I probably a 10. I love Beverly Hills. And from what I hear, the drama is good. The beef, I mean, we're kicking the season off with Dorit's robbery, and we're wrapping things up with this big blow up in Aspen. Like, I think it's going to be solid. We have a newbie in the mix, a lot of little fights here or there, a lot of little tiffs. We have Kathy Hilton back in the mix. I don't know if people are really going to like Kathy. I think Kathy's going to be doing a Sutton, where she's going to be playing up the shtick that people saw. But
also, isn't she only coming in like the latter third of the season?
Yeah. So
how are they going to explain that?
Right. Well, they're explaining it by saying she was busy planning Paris's wedding.
Oh, Lord.
Which, to be fair, though, I watched Paris in Love, and I just finished it over the weekend. One, it's actually really cute and endearing. I enjoyed the series. Kathy Hilton gives us a very different Kathy than we got on Beverly Hills. She's not as dingy as she gave us last season.
Well, did you watch the Paris documentary?
Yeah.
She was like a different human being in that. She's like a robot.
Yeah. Well, in this series, she's not like a robot. She has emotion. She breaks down. She cries. Like, we see, like, it's actually very like reality. Like, I was pretty impressed with how real it was. Like with Paris, like legit having moments where she's like, I don't know if I want to get married, but like you can, like, it was very honest and genuine and real. I think it was very much like, we're just going to film it all, because at the end of the day, we decide what ends up airing and what doesn't. Mm-hmm. And they just decided to air most of the actual story, but I actually enjoyed it.
Cool.
Should we talk about Vanderpump Rules because this
Please,
reunion.
I am like, I am chomping at the bit about this.
So, what were your thoughts of the season overall? We had a 15 episode season, so it was a bit shorter than we normally get, which I like a shorter season. I hate the 24 episode seasons. I think they're too long.
Which is hilarious because to me, I'm gonna start with this. I really did enjoy this season. Like, I did not jump ship. I pretty much watched every episode. Maybe there was one that I like paused and never went back to, but it actually did feel like a 24-hour episode season to me. Like, I was like, when is this ending? Like, it did feel very long, even though it wasn't, but that's just my perception of it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was heads and tails above last season for sure, without question. I like the smaller cast. Generally speaking, I really enjoyed it. I really like watching Brock on TV. I think he's made for TV. I found all of that stuff really interesting. James Kennedy, I think, will always remain my one true love. I'm dead serious. I don't even know what your opinion is on James, but I want to talk about his performance in the reunion. I thought it was really compelling at the end with the, Sheena and Brock versus whatever. I'm curious to see if this something about her sandwiches gets made. Like, I'm sort of invested in that. I kind of don't give a shit about Schwartz and Sandy's. Kind of don't care. Like, I was in Vegas and went to Vanderpump Cocktail Garden, but I don't know that I need to visit a Schwartz and Sandy's the way I went and made a pilgrimage to Tom Tom and the others.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. I'm actually very much looking forward to Schwartz and Sandy's just because I want to see what they do on their own without Lisa. Like, everything has Lisa Vanderpump's, fingerprints on all the other restaurants and stuff that I'm just curious, especially since we saw how at the beginning of the season, they're like, it's going to be psychedelic and it's going to be this. And like, they were so all over the place with what they wanted it to be. I'm just curious to see what actually comes to fruition.
Right.
Especially because it was like a Mexican restaurant that they completely gutted and like are redoing altogether. That I'm curious to see how this comes together. Yeah.
Oh, and I do think, prediction, how it was brought up in the reunion, Vanderpump like sort of hinted like, oh, I would potentially invest in the sandwich shop. I can 100% see her doing that because I think it would be a good investment. B, storyline for next season.
I agree.
For her.
Yes, I agree. Because we didn't see much of Sir this season.
Not at all.
We didn't see
any.
Also,
it was closed and those were fake scenes.
Yes, that's right. I remember that. But like, we didn't get, like, usually Sir is its own cast member or her restaurants are their own, like, cast members. We didn't hear about them. We didn't really see that. Like, all of it was very like non-existent this season, which I think is probably part of the reason we kind of liked it, is because it wasn't forced on us. Like, that was the issue last season, is it was forced on us. And there were too many people. There was too much going on. We couldn't really, it was so disjointed that I think this season, the smaller cast, like, there were central storylines that we saw all the way through. There was, history and drama because there, is a long-standing friendship between all of these people. I enjoyed this season a lot. I wish we would have gotten to see the Lala Randall breakup. I wish we would have gotten to see the Raquel and James breakup. Like, that to me was the biggest miss that I wish we would have gotten, but it's interesting. What did you think of the finale and the engagement party and Sheena and Brock and the news kind of coming out about their engagement?
I mean,
what did you think of them announcing their engagement on the trip?
I mean, obviously that's totally tacky. You don't do that.
What did you think of Lala then revealing it at the engagement party?
She's looking to make television.
And she's great at it. That's it. Everyone's mad at her. They're like, no. I'm like,
no,
we literally wouldn't have a finale if Lala didn't do her job. If Lala and Katie didn't do their jobs, all we would have gotten was like a cute engagement party, and Ariana and Katie would have gotten their check from Randall, and it really wouldn't have been that compelling.
A producer told her to do that.
I don't even think a producer needed to tell her to do that. I think Lala just knows how the game works.
Yeah.
A producer maybe told Katie to do that because Katie's the one that went to Lala and kind of like pumped her up.
Yeah.
But Katie was already Liddy City. That I think it was a great finale. It was a great blow up. I thought it was strange though that Brock's like, put your ring on now that it's out there, and like made her go back in the party flashing her ring. That to me, I was like, Juna, no, let's not do that. But I thought it was a great season overall.
Yeah. Can we please talk about the reunion?
Yes, let's talk about the reunion. What were your first? Did you feel like 2 parts was enough? Too long? Too short? Just right?
Ultimately, I thought it was enough. And I actually really liked how they aired it back to back.
Yeah.
That really worked. And I wish they would air all reunions that way. Don't drag it out for a month. I hate that.
Yeah.
I like that. Like wrap the reunion up in like a week or 2 and like let us free to live the rest of our lives.
2 weeks. Because like we have like the 4-part reunions now. Like that's the thing. Salt Lake City's getting a 4-part reunion, or it was supposed to get a 4-part reunion until Mary pulled out. So I don't know if it's still going to be 4 parts. I don't know how you can drag it out for 4 parts without Mary, but I agree. I like the format of airing it back to back, and even for the 4-part ones, we can do 2 this week and 2 next week, and then we bang it out. Because you're still going to get the ratings. Like people are still going to watch it, and if anything, they're going to be more eager to watch it because they're excited.
Well, it feels more like a binge.
Yes, which is the culture now. We like binging. We like having options. Because like that was the thing with the Beverly Hills reunion is everyone was like, I'm going to wait until all 4 parts come out, and then I'm just going to binge them all together.
I thought that this Vanderpump reunion was one of the best reunions of any of these shows, period. Really? I mean, by far the best Vanderpump reunion that there's been, like in recent history. I mean, just the raw emotion from James. I really want to talk about James and like what is going on there.
Well, I thought it was strange just from the top of the reunion that it was strange that I understand that Katie Schwartz and Lala couldn't be there. But I thought that it was strange that we opened the reunion and then James and Raquel reveal their breakup before we bring Lala and Katie and Schwartz into the situation. And then they have to re-announce that they are broken up. And then we have to watch Lala and Katie and Schwartz react to it. Like, I thought that was a bit strange.
That was a bit strange. Like, oh yeah, we just talked about this, but just to catch you up.
We just did a whole segment that you were not a part of, and now that we're looping you in, I wonder if it was like a production delay, and I don't know, but it was very interesting. I also thought it was strange that they didn't have the what do you call it? The giant screens. You know how at the Dallas reunion and at the Salt Lake City reunion, like when somebody wasn't there, they had the big screens up. I was very disappointed that they did not have that.
I want to ask you something regarding James and Raquel and their relationship and what we may see next season and whatever. Now, I think that there is some unexplored sexuality stuff going on with James. Yeah.
What do you mean? Tell me.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know like the Logan rumors, but like what about the breakup with Raquel indicates that there are, bi tendencies? Is that what you're getting? Bi vibes?
It's not about bi vibes. I mean, I think he still has a lot of I think I see a little bit of myself in him. I think he reminds me of myself before I came out. And this is like not a compliment to myself, obviously. Like I think I strangely relate to him, although I never had an issue with drinking. But I think the excessive drinking, the anger, especially the drinking.
That's a really good point. Because the
anger.
Yeah.
I remember before I came out, like when I was in high school and even like very early college, I was so angry at the world.
Yeah.
Because, well, for like a minute, you felt I mean, I'm maybe you experience this too, but I think a lot of gay people experience this, especially back when, when I was in college in like the very early 2000s, where it wasn't as like free to be whatever the way it is today. I think I see something in James and just also how they admitted they don't have sex.
Yeah, and haven't had sex for like 2 years.
Yes. Like that is that is something. And there was something else, like it almost seemed like, and also how the way in which they broke up and the way they showed how there's so much love. It seems like they're best friends.
Yeah.
And I think that's also why he and Lala never worked out. That's why they never dated, is because I think that there's something sexually going on with him that I could listen. This is just my opinion. Yeah. I don't want to be putting this on.
Yeah.
But
there were
thoughts.
Also the rumors with Logan that they were hooking up,
yes.
A couple of seasons ago. So are you saying that you think the reason it never happened with Lala and the reason it ended with Raquel is because he hindered that, or because they sensed something and then retreated?
I think they sensed something and retreated. Because a woman like always kind of knows, like, especially if like you try to have that, like, I don't know. And also, I really relate. Like, I was so like, I really felt like the way how they talked about the breakup, it was so real and so honest, and how in the end, and James just seemed so sad.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, I lost the love of my life. I think he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, where am I going? And I think he's scared. Who knows? Listen, this is my interpretation.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true. Like, who knows? A lot of people don't even know that they're gay or have whatever. But me, as somebody who went through a sort of similar thing, I don't know. I saw a lot of myself in him, and it just really rang very true and heartbreaking. And I'm curious to see where this goes. Fascinated that it was sort of like, Raquel is leaving the show to like be a good person. Yeah. Her father picking her up. That was so what it felt. I was like, oh my God, we're finally seeing something real on one of these shows.
I think you really hit the nail on the head with the anger issues related to James's sexuality, or something within his identity. Even if it's not sexuality, there's something in his identity that he's not fully accepting. And that's, I think, where the anger is coming from, because we already took the drinking out of the occasion. He was engaged and found, seemingly the love of his life. It was very strange to still see there be this big anger issue with him that we've seen repeatedly that hasn't really gone away. And it's usually because there's something that hasn't been dealt with that's underneath it all. And I think it's definitely an identity thing. I didn't expect them to really make it all the way. I just sensed that I don't know. Like, I thought that she was good for him because he balanced her out, but I never really sensed that he was that good for her or really brought much to her other than money and the show. And everybody's like, oh, she knew what she was doing. She was trying to get on the show. But I think this reunion really showed that she doesn't give a shit about TV. She doesn't give a shit about the fame. Like, she genuinely just wants to help kids with special needs. And my interpretation is that she's leaving Vanderpump Rules. I don't expect her to return next season.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. That, like, it was sort of like Raquel is leaving like, they made that very clear. Yeah. Like, picking up with the father. I don't quite understand why the father hated James, but maybe that probably has nothing to do with the sexuality. That's just because he's got a lot of issues, anger issues, drinking issues, a lot of just bad habits, we'll just call it. I was glued watching it.
What did you think of her kind of revealing that she had to come up with a whole exit strategy in order to leave him?
Well, I listened to her on Sheena's podcast and she really went into it, and that was really interesting. What did I think? Maybe she's smarter than we thought.
You're giving her a lot of credit.
I don't know. I don't know. I felt bad for the whole situation because I think there's more. I just think there's more to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think there's more to it than this. And I felt really bad. I mean, the good news is she's what, like 25? Like the good news is like she's a child and like has her entire life ahead of her.
Well, so does he. He's only what, 29, 28, 27?
So, they're, it's a good thing they didn't get married or try to have a kid and all of that. But
I think it's so weird that they have not had sex in 2 years, especially after getting engaged, after, so many of the big moments that they've had. Like, that's weird.
It shows that there was something, sexuality or not.
No wonder
there was a lack of attraction.
No wonder he's getting blowjobs from Logan in the bathroom then.
Right. Sexuality or not, it shows that there was a lack of sexual compatibility.
Yeah.
Whether it mean not talking about sexual orientation, just the two of them, there was a lack of sexual compatibility and a lack of attraction.
Yeah.
On a certain level.
As even people, like I know friends that have had relationship issues that still had sex. Like there was still a physical attraction enough for them to at least use each other in that way. Even if they hadn't fully worked out their romantic relationship issues,
Yeah.
That I would and James and Raquel didn't seem to have those issues, but the fact that they still weren't having sex, like, is just very bizarre, especially after getting engaged. Like, that to me is very bizarre. Anything else about James and Raquel, or do you want to talk about Lala?
Yeah, let's move on to Lala.
What did you think of her being like, you should have told me that Randall was screwing around on me?
Ridiculous. And generally speaking, I felt like the Lala stuff was a non-starter because she went on this whole damn media tour saying way more than even came out on the reunion. Yeah. It's like, I've heard all this 75 times on a plethora of podcasts. So I think that's why they left it for the end and they like gave it like 15 minutes. They didn't really dwell on it because it's all been said. And I wonder if she was fined for that because they do get fined. Housewives have gone on record stating that
she can only get fined if it aired on the show, and it didn't air on the show. It was something that happened outside of the show, and that's how she was able to get away with it.
Oh, really?
Because even at the reunion, like they're not allowed, like they can only get fined because their contract is, specific to storylines on Vanderpump Rules. So Randall's breakup was not a storyline on Vanderpump Rules. It happened off camera. It was something she technically something that wasn't even of topic of discussion going into the reunion until it broke in the news. So it was, it was something that because I wouldn't imagine she would then get fined and break her contract just to have a moment in the press.
I think the Lala stuff would have been more impactful had she been in the room. It just felt very disjointed. And also, like, you're not telling me anything new. So I don't know why she went on this whole media tour. Wasn't a big fan of that.
Because what did it do at the end of the day is my thing. Like, it didn't promote the reunion because if anything, it did the opposite of promote the reunion because it gave everything that we were going to be seeing at the reunion. It she didn't sell her book in it. She didn't, like, maybe her podcast tour, but she was pimping the podcast tour as like, I'm really going to spill it all on this tour. The tour is not until April or not until May. That it was just like, I didn't understand what the point of the media tour was.
Is she doing it now with somebody else?
No. Well, I assume she's going to have special guests at the different tour stops, but can you believe the tickets for that are like insane? Like general admission is like $59 and VIP packages are like $130. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
And it comes with like a tote bag and a photo op. And maybe a complimentary drink too, but still, I was just like, that's a lot of money. Like, I don't know. And she's picking some big arenas too, like theaters and stuff that she's performing at. Stassi's meet and greets weren't even that expensive.
Okay, speaking of Stassi, for next season, do we bring back the Witches of WeHo?
I think if anything, Stassi has the only one with potential to come back. They won't ask Jax back. They won't ask Kristen back. The only one left is Stassi. And I don't know if if she would even do it. Because they essentially burned her. I mean, they, didn't even give her a heads up that she was fired. Like, it just,
I think they ask her back, and I think she does it.
You think she does it?
This is gut. I'm giving you my gut reaction here.
I mean, we'll get to Stassi in a minute because I want to talk about, this redemption arc that she's on right now. And what else about the Vanderpump reunion? I'm excited for something about her. I actually think it's cute. I think Lisa Vanderpump is absolutely going to invest in it. I think you're right. It gives her a storyline. It gives her relevancy on the show and longevity. It gives us something interesting to be engaged with. And I think they're starting to realize they're having that moment of like, Vanderpump is not going to be around forever. And so they're trying to bank their future right now, or especially seeing how disposable they were when Jax and Stassi and Kristen got fired.
I want something specific to you, actually, with the Vanderpump reunion. Tom Sandoval did a big interview on your show saying all this stuff, how Katie had come to him before filming that she needed a storyline. I thought that this was going to be like brought up at the reunion, and maybe it was, and they just cut it out. Like, do you know anything about that?
I would imagine it got cut, only because it was two parts. The biggest piece of all of that was James and Raquel, which I think was the most interesting and compelling piece. I mean, I would imagine Tom Sandoval and Katie shared words and that came up and, there was a whole exchange about it. But like even Tom and Katie, we saw maybe 5 minutes from both parts of the reunion, like collectively 5 minutes of their beef together. We barely got any Schwartz in this reunion. Even Sandoval, we got an update on Schwartz and Sandy's where they showed us the video. And then we got Sandoval saying that he heard about Randall fooling around on Lala. Other than that, we didn't get much of him or Katie and Tom. So I think James and Raquel and Lala both with their own, which is so strange that the bulk of the reunion was with things that happened outside of the show, not on camera this season.
Good. I mean, I don't care. Well, thank God.
Yeah.
What if we had to relive? I mean, I liked the season, but I don't want to relive it through like a reunion.
Yeah, I think that's the hard thing with reunions now. And even for shows, like when I was recapping or like going back and watching Miami for the first time, I watched the first episode, the finale, and the reunions. And that gave me all of the story and drama that I needed, because watching every single episode and then watching the reunion, a lot of it is just rehashing stuff that the reunions just aren't as compelling as I think we used to find them before.
Yeah, totally agree.
Which is why we have to bring in like Nicki Minaj to make things exciting and make people want to tune in, and even kind of find a new audience as well. I think I've talked about that with Ryan Bailey. Like, how are we trying to gain new subscribers here?
It's by doing stunt things like that.
Yeah. Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, Nicki Minaj at the reunion, like things like Nicki Minaj's audience then went and watched her at the Potomac reunion, and they may not have previously been engaged with Housewives,
Yeah.
Interesting. Anything else about the Vanderpump reunion?
That's it, baby.
Yeah. It was interesting to hear that Brock and Lala seemed to be in a better place, but yet there was also a lot of like underlying. But it also seems
like they hate each other's guts.
Yeah, there was a lot of like underlying shade that they would throw at each other, but they're like,
can't
but we're in a
stand
good place
each other.
now. Yeah, but they're like, but we're in a good place now. I was like, okay. I really enjoy Brock. I know people hate him, and
I'm into him. There's something about him.
He's compelling.
There's something that he's compelling. There's something about his physical appearance. He's just unique. I don't know.
Perfect replacement for Jax, because like not only is he able to capture the camera and the audience in such a way that and they hate him, but like also he isn't as problematic as Jax, but still brings a lot of the messy drama and like baggage that Jax brought. So I think for the show, he was the perfect fit because he is able to give character longevity without having to be Jax, who's getting canceled every other week for being, you know, sexist and homophobic and all these other things that people, you know, were claiming that he was.
Yes.
I like Rock. I'm into him. I'm here for, and I want Sheena to just have her fairy tale ending. Like, I just so desperately want that.
I know, me too.
Okay, so since Lala came up, or not Lala, since Stassi came up in the conversation, she just announced her new book. And I want to go through her book and some of the other books that are coming out this spring and see which of these books you would actually pay money for, which you would get a free Audible credit for, and which you have no interest in.
I love this. I love this game. Let's do this.
Okay, so first up is Stassi's book, Off With My Head, The Definitive Basic Bitch Handbook to Surviving Rock Bottom. It comes out April 26th, and it's billed as the New York Times bestselling author of Next Level Basic, fan favorite alumna of Bravo's Vanderpump Rules, returns with the definitive basic bitch handbook for surviving your rock bottom moments. Are you buying it?
No.
Why?
I will read the, you know, the little blurbs, the summaries that come out, and that's it.
I already pre-ordered it.
Next.
I mean, only because I guess you're right. Like, the juiciest parts will obviously be revealed. And then, well, because I got the first book and I met her when her first book came out. And I wasn't that into the first book. Like, it was cute, but it was very like, if you're a basic girl that's like that likes pumpkin spice lattes, you'll enjoy the book. But like,
I was never a huge Stassi fan. I was never a huge
Stassi.
I mean, maybe I don't know. I barely remember. Yeah, I guess I liked her, but I never read her book. I'm not invested. I'm not super invested in Stassi, so I certainly wouldn't. But I would read, like, I mean, I want to read the headlines and like,
she's gonna talk about all of that stuff. But a lot of people are like, oh, is she really gonna talk about being in rock bottom? Like, what does she know about rock bottom? She's a privileged white girl and she doesn't know what rock bottom is. I will say that I agree. I hear all of those sentiments, and yes, I understand where people are coming from. But I will say, in reading like the full description from the book, it seems like we've gotten a very like matured Stassi. Like, she's still Stassi, but it's like, even the description of the book sounds like full self-awareness of like, yes, I understand. I am very privileged and my rock bottom is going to be very different from people's real rock bottoms. But I'm hoping that I can be open and candid and honest about my experiences and processing of my emotions. And hopefully you'll learn something from that, even if it's laughing at my expense, because I've fucked up a lot, you know? So I think that we're going to get that mature. I mean, and here's the other thing. Her book is number 25 on Amazon right now and number 1 on all the charts on Amazon.
Wow.
So it shows that people are interested. People want to hear from her. And I would imagine she's going to do another tour. And I would imagine it's going to sell the way the first one did.
Yeah.
So
I think so.
Which begs the question, does she even need Vanderpump at this point?
I mean, why not? It's a fat check.
Would you go back?
Yeah.
You would do it after they fired you?
I don't know. I can't relate to this. I can't relate to I mean, probably for the money.
Yeah. Okay, next book. This one drops in March. Pillow Talk. What's Wrong with My Sewing by Craig Conover.
Hard no.
Hold
pass.
on. Let me read you the description first.
Okay.
Conover reveals the full story of the drama that swirled around him on the show, both on and off screen, and how it led to the founding of Sewing Down South. He talks about how he was able to turn his passion into his work and reclaim the direction of his life. Most of all, Conover reveals how anyone can find the purpose and fulfillment they deserve.
Are you going to read this book?
No.
Okay.
Like, I would love to interview him on the podcast. So if I had to read it, maybe. But the funny thing, too, is it said that Cameron Eubanks, that's her name, right? Cameron Eubanks.
Yeah.
They're like, if you read her book or if you read Chip Gaines' book, then you'll love this. And I'm like, that's kind of a random.
I mean, I never watched Southern Charm, so I only know him through Winter House and now Paige on Summer House. So I don't need a book from my new friend.
I don't need a book about his sewing and about how he found his passion of sewing. Like, this could be like a cute article somewhere, like an interview that he could give about, like, my grandma taught me how to sew, and since then I fell in love with the thread. I'm addicted to the threads. That would have been, I don't need a whole book about it, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. Which, Shep's book bombed. Like, nobody got Shep's book.
I can't believe he got a book deal.
I can't believe he got a spinoff and a book deal. Like, I don't understand what's so compelling about him.
No, I can't believe Craig got a book deal.
Oh, Craig. Well, Craig got a book deal because Cameron got a book deal and her book did really well and people really liked her book. I mean, and I can't believe he got a book deal either to be about sewing. Like, to me, it's very, but here's the thing. They're all being published by Simon & Schuster. So I think Simon & Schuster is like, we're investing in Bravo Talent because we know Bravo Talent can sell books. They either can or can't, and we're about to find out. Okay, next up. This one comes out April 5th. Chaos Theory. Finding Meaning in the Madness, One Bad Decision at a Time by Leah McSweeney.
Buy the book, go to the book signing, listen to the audiobook. Hope I can interview her on my podcast. Yes, all the way in. Yes.
Really?
I love Leah.
The Real Housewives of New York star, fashion industry pioneer, entrepreneur, and mom Leah McSweeney breaks through the chaos of battling addiction, igniting the streetwear world, and disrupting reality television, all while being unapologetically, unrelentingly herself.
Can't wait.
It actually
wish it was out right now. Wish I could listen to the audiobook when we get off this.
Oh my God. Well, it's only 2 months away. It's about to drop soon.
Great.
Okay, last book.
And I think by the way, I think I love the cover art.
The cover's great. The cover's great. Craig's cover is really good too. I really like his is cute. Well, I just find him hot.
Yeah, I think you're a little biased.
I'm a little biased. Okay, last book on the docket coming out this May. Business is Personal, The Truth About What It Takes to Be Successful While Staying True to Yourself by Bethenny Frankel. Lessons on building a business and maintaining balance by the New York Times bestselling author, media personality, mogul, mother, and I guess the book is based on her hit podcast and her own career as a serial entrepreneur and brand builder.
Okay.
Smash or pass?
What'd you say?
Smash or pass?
Smash. Obviously, I am, to the surprise of no one. Of course, I am listening to, I don't read, but like I prefer to listen to the audiobook. So of course I am listening to the audiobook. I would give anything. Like, I mean, what are the odds that she would do one of our shows simply to terrorize us the way she did Danny Pellegrino? Like, I would love that.
She did Danny's podcast?
What, to promote her podcast like last year?
I didn't know she did that. How did I not know about this collaboration?
And she was so mean to him.
Why?
He's gone on record saying she was like his worst guest because she literally got on there and she's like, yeah, I don't know anything about podcasting. What is the podcast? She was like, I don't know anything about podcasting. I got the #1 podcast. It's me and Hillary Clinton. Can you believe it? And Danny's like, and no Housewives questions were allowed.
Interesting.
She was like a total bitch.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that she can terrorize one of us.
I would love
it.
that.
Would
oh my God.
love it.
I mean, the fact that she's on a book tour and not on Housewives, she may need some help promoting.
I would drop the fuck dead.
I'm actually looking forward to reading it. I'm curious because, and we've talked about this, she's building this Gary V, Tony Robbins, like Shark Tank serial entrepreneur style persona now. Like she's
laughable. No, she's not.
That's what she's trying to do. In her head, that's where she's at. And that's like, she thinks she's Gary V right now. That's why she's like, I'm giving you business advice. She thinks she's Martha Stewart.
But she really doesn't have business advice. Like listen, I loved A Place of Yes. Like that had a lot of business advice in it. She's more like life coach advice than business advice.
Yes, I don't even know if I would give her life coach advice though. See, because here's the thing. I've been watching Bethenny Frankel business advice videos like on repeat for the past like week. Just because I'm so fascinated with reality TV stars, how they become successful, how they build successful
Wait,
businesses.
she has a series giving business advice?
She's starting a series giving business advice.
I can't wait to watch
I'm
this.
telling you, this is like the brand that she's trying to build now. Listen to how the book is described. First of all, she says that the book is based off of her hit podcast. I don't know who's hitting it other than Brynn, but like, is it really a hit podcast? Like, is it that?
I mean, it was the first week it came out, but
because everyone was interested in what she had to say after Housewives.
The most successful episodes are the ones that she was responding to Not All Diamonds and Rosé. The only stuff that's really compelling is when she responds to Housewives stuff. So she can never really get away from that. The podcast is awful. Like sometimes the rants in the beginning are good, but that has nothing to do with business.
No. And here she's a serial entrepreneur and brand builder. What businesses has she successfully? I mean, because Carol Radziwill basically outed her in Not All Diamonds and Rosé and says that she's basically not like, she doesn't have like, it's not a business. They're licensing deals. So. And the only brand she's built is the Skinny Girl brand and like the Bethenny brand, which is essentially the Skinny Girl brand.
Correct.
So I don't understand, like, what is she a serial?
Well, no. I would argue the Bethenny brand is separate from the Skinny Girl brand.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But yeah. But they coexist a lot. I'm excited to read it because I want to know what her business advice actually is. But here's the thing. I don't think this book is going to sell well. I don't think it's going to sell well because the audience, like, here's the thing. Skinny Girl Margarita and Skinny Girl Shapewear worked because it worked for the average woman. It worked for the mom. It worked for women that loved watching Real Housewives because a lot of the times they saw pieces of themselves reflected in these shows, you know? And there was an aspirational side of it.
Also, everything she has sold, whether it be like the margarita, the whatever, the fucking popcorn, the deli meat, whatever it has been, the jeans, that she made that all into a storyline. Even one of her books, she made that all into a storyline on Housewives. That's how people found out about it. And without Housewives, no one is going to watch a 7-minute appearance of her on Live with Kelly and be like, oh, I got to get this book.
Exactly. It's just she doesn't realize her audience is women that watch Real Housewives. And she's trying to isolate herself from that. And this is where she's not a smart business person because I wish she would lean into it more and really run with it. I mean, or is she really smart by trying to build something beyond it, knowing that one day Housewives is going to be totally extinct?
Right.
I don't know. Because, what does Sonia have now? I mean, New York's...
Nothing.
Who knows when New York's coming back, if it's coming back.
It's coming back.
Well, I know it's coming back, but, it could be... I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if they did, a Miami situation and left it on the table for a minute. I don't think they'll leave it on the table for 8 years like they did Miami, but I wouldn't be surprised if they really took a beat with it.
No, I think it will be back on the air. A year from today, we will be watching it.
Okay.
Listen, let's go back and review this tape a year from today and let's see if James came out. Let's see if my wild fucked up predictions were correct.
Oh my God. Well, I'm excited about Bethenny's new book, but it's only because I'm so and I think you're the same way. I'm so interested in her beyond Housewives.
Yeah.
And I'm invested in her, but I don't think most of the audience that follows her is.
Wait, oh my God, I forgot to tell you this. I told you I wanted to tell you something on air. So, okay. when Bethenny had her Sirius XM show, remember she had her radio show that she was fired from? I once called in and asked the question, would you ever write a book on divorce? And she said, yes, I want to write a book called How to Not Get Fucked in Your Divorce. So I've been waiting for this book. And I thought now that all the legal stuff has fallen away, I thought that is so much more compelling than some bullshit.
That. People and Housewives fans would buy that.
See? That's why I was really surprised that her next book is going to be this business thing. Write the divorce book, baby. That's what we want.
That could have been a better bridge to the business because it would have built the story arc. We would have been interested in divorce. We would have seen her come out on the other side, and then we would have been ready for the next chapter of her life.
Yes. Yep.
That is a huge missing of the mark because I feel like you're right. I mean, I bought, what was it? I Suck at Relationships, So You Don't Have To. She wrote so many books. And a lot of the recent ones didn't really land. Like she had the cocktail book. She had the children's book. She had Skinny Girl Solutions. I think Skinny Girl Solutions is the only one I didn't buy or read. Did you get all her other books?
I didn't. I listened to the audiobooks for all of them except for that Skinny Girl not cooking. I'm not going to do cooking books, but everything else I've listened to the audiobooks and they're all really good.
Well, Skinny Girl Solutions wasn't cooking.
I don't know what that is, but not involved with that.
Nobody
didn't
did.
have time for that.
It was not a good, it was.
Here's the thing. I'm not into Skinny Girl. I'm not into that. I'm into Bethenny's personality. I'm not into shapewear and all that shit. I don't want deli meat. I want Bethenny's.
Are you drinking Skinny Girl margarita?
No, remember a year ago, I remember I went to every
you couldn't find it.
Remember when I went to every supermarket and you're like, go to CVS. And I went and I think I videoed the drink. You're like, go to the beer section. I'm like, it's not here. It's like you can't find it in New York. We should continue that hunt for this book. This should be a good challenge. Skinny Girl Challenge.
Skinny Girl Challenge.
If
you listening at home, go to your local CVS and see if you can find Skinny Girl Margarita.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jess, for chatting with me today.
What a day. What a night. What a day.
What a day. What a time. What a vibe. What a time to be alive. Where can people keep up with you if they are interested or if they want to slide into your DMs?
Yes. So my podcast is called Hot Takes and Deep Dives. You can find me on Instagram at JessXNYC. Would love to chat with you, hear from you. And I have a really great episode coming out. My next episode, I'm obsessed with the new Sex and the City and Just Like That. I've been begging Zack to get into the original Sex and the City.
I've never seen it. Yeah.
Shocking, truly shocking. And I interviewed the co-executive producer and writer for all 6 seasons. She worked hand in hand with Michael Patrick King, who was the Andy Cohen of Sex and the City. And so I interviewed her about all the episodes. She's written 20 episodes and everything about all of that. And so that'll be the next episode that comes out. So if you're into Sex and the City and Just Like That, I've kind of turned my podcast into a Sex and the City podcast as of late. So get into that.
No, yeah, they love And Just Like That because everyone's always like, "Did you watch it? When isn't Just Like That?" I'm like, you guys, I don't fucking watch And Just Like That. Yeah. I've never seen Sex and the City in my life. I did try to watch it yesterday though, and that's when I texted you. I was like, I sent you a picture of me.
But so did you start at literally season 1, episode 1?
No, I don't have HBO Max, and I hate.
I'm gonna give you my HBO Max login so that I'm serious. I'm gonna give you my login so that you can start. You need to start at season 3.
Well, so the reason I was watching it is because I have YouTube TV, and YouTube TV, I guess because Sex and the City airs on E or whatever, some of the episodes will come up on YouTube TV. So I thought you said started season 2, episode 1. So that's what I was watching when I texted you. Oh. And then you're like, no, do season 3. And then I went to go see if season 3 was available on YouTube TV, and it wasn't, and I gave up. I was like, this is too much work for me.
Yeah, you could start at season 2 also. Either way, but don't watch it on that because it's probably going to be edited. On E, they take the sex out. Samantha is like not even in the show. So listen, we're going to fix this issue offline.
All right. Go give Jess a follow at JessXNYC, right?
Yes.
JessXNYC, and check out our podcast, Hot Takes and Deep Dives, available on all podcast platforms. So go and show her some love. Subscribe, give her a good 5-star review. And while you're at it, I hope you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Give me a follow, give me a subscribe, give me a 5-star review, because I love that validation. And I'll shout you out on the Instagram. If you're watching this on the YouTube, hey there, cutie. Please hit that subscribe button. Smash that like button. That's what YouTubers say. They say smash that like button. Hit that bell notification button. That way you're always getting the tea spilled fresh weekly in your inbox. And if you haven't done so yet, I suggest going and stocking up on some Housewives Watching Wine at nofilterwine.com. You can also get merch at justplainzack.com/shop. Justplainzack.com/shop. If you use code ZackPack, you will get 15% off your first order, so go and do it. Give me a follow at JustPlainZack. Follow the show at No Filter with Zack. Follow Jess at JessXNYC. And until next time, until this Wednesday, I have Heather McDonald on the podcast this Wednesday, so get ready. Send me what topics you want us to talk about. All right, guys.
Major.
Love you. Mean it. Bye.